let's learn about the rules for rounding after multiplication or division. Okay, so let's take, for example, you have 56.8 and you're multiplying it with 0.37. So if you plug this into your calculator, you will get 21.016. So that is your calculator answer. However, if you write this answer, that would be incorrect. Why? Because this answer is simply a mathematically generated answer. However, these two numbers are coming from real measurements. Okay, so the significant figures out here have to be taken into consideration. Okay, so if we're trying to measure significant figures, this one has 3 sig figs and this one has 2 sig figs. That 0 is not significant. Okay, so the rules for multiplication or division is that you will always express your answer with the same number of significant figures as the initial number with the least number of significant figures. So the least is what is going to dictate how many significant figures goes in your answer. Therefore, you have to stop at this digit when you're rounding, okay? Which means you look at the next digit over and make a decision. Is that going to be 5 or greater or less than 5? In this case, it's less than 5. So we're going to drop all of that, and therefore the answer to this is going to be 21. 2 significant figures, same as the number with the least number of significant figures. So let's take a look at another problem out here. You have 2.8 times 67.40, and that whole thing is divided by 34.8, which means you have a multiplication and a division in this problem. The key out here to remember is we do not round till the very end of a calculation. So go ahead and plug this entire thing into your calculator and then see what it gives you. Okay, in my particular case, this is what it gives me. So there you have it. That is what my calculator gave me. And as you can see, that number is a pretty big number. Again, that's just mathematically generated, and we have to take into consideration the significant figures in the initial, the starting quantities that were measured. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the significant figures for each of them. So that's 2 significant figures. That is 4 significant figures. That 0 is significant. It's at the end of the number and has a decimal place. And that is 3 significant figures. So if you look at this entire thing, this is the one that you're going to use as your guide because it has the least number of significant figures of everything given to you. Therefore, you have to stop out here and you have to drop everything else because this next number, the 2, is less than 5. Therefore, the answer is 5.4 with 2 significant figures. Now here's an interesting question. So if you have these two numbers, as you can see, that has 4 significant figures and that has 2 significant figures. Of course, you can do this in your head. If you do this in your head, you'd say, well, that's 25 divided by 5, that's 5. If you plug it into your calculator is going to give you the same answer. And the question is that the correct answer? As you can see, we have to restrict the answer to, oh, I'm sorry, this is not 2 significant figures. This is 3 significant figures. We have to restrict the answer to 3 significant figures, but the answer we get is much less. That's 1 significant figure. So what do we do out here? Now, at this point in time, we actually have to understand that because of the placement of the zeros after the decimal, the calculator does not really add those because it's not adding any value, but we have to put back 2 zeros because those zeros are significant, okay? And those, now that answer changes to 3 significant figures as reported. So therefore, don't just blindly take a look at your calculator and trust the answer. You have to use the rules of significant figures to determine what the right answer is.